Hey you guys, welcome back to A Couple's Thing.
We touch on a couple of things.
On today's episode, we are going to be talking about what it's like when you are trying to remove yourself of the generational curse, per se. And if you don't know what I mean the traumas that have been passed down to us from our parents that they couldn't control, of course, based on how they were brought up and just based on their life experiences, but how it ricocheted to ours. I feel like we should have a conversation about it. So, yes. What do you think of when I just explained that?
There's a certain way people were raised in America, where we're from. You know, our grandparents being immigrants coming to America, how they're raised in poverty-stricken areas.
Well, it's more than America, it's just the whole world, right?
Yeah, but I'm just talking about our experience.
Oh, okay.
And what generational curses you want to stop.
Okay.
And, you know, their parents telling them, so you gotta work. Don't worry about what you do, just make some money, get enough money to feed your family, and hopefully try to get the American dream.
Yeah.
And just all those things that come with just going for that, and just the way we were raised. They were raised to beat your kids, and what I say goes, and don't really talk to your kids like that.
Don't become friends with your kids because you're their parent type of situations.
And just those type of things. What are the biggest things that come to your mind of some of the curses that you want to break?
Well, so recently I feel that I've learned, listen, I want to say this real quick because TikTok University, I held myself from downloading it for a really long time and then I finally gave in. I feel that I have learned so much more from TikTok than I have my entire life. And like, I know that sounds crazy, but you're listening to so many experiences and I feel like there's absolutely no filter the way that there is on other social media platforms.
So relate to something,
no matter what. And your algorithm is always for you. I learned in the past couple of months that I had trauma with like having to work at such a young age and learning that that's not even something that should have been done to us. I didn't know that. I thought that the way that I went through life was the way that it's just always been, and for good reason, and that's just the way the world worked. And if you were to make it to a certain stride in life, then of course you got lucky, right? But I feel like I'm unlearning everything now, and I'm learning that like, I had to work from like 14, 15 years old. I feel like my teenage years were sucked out of me. Like I wasn't even allowed to experience life, and like there's so many little things that I've just been sitting back saying I would never do this to another human. And I'm not putting blame on our parents. It's just the way they were raised. It's just the way they were taught and the experiences they had, but it doesn't make it right. And like I feel like we could be the barriers to stop that. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of unlearning that has to happen.
Yeah, it's just like it's 18, you're an adult, that's it. If you're out of high school, you gotta go work and figure it out.
Yeah.
To get out the house.
That doesn't even make sense to me.
It's never taught that follow your dream or go travel, because parents are there, they're there to provide. Just because you're 18, like you think when you were 18, you think you were that adult just to go off in the world and just have your. Sometimes it doesn't always work like that, unless like you had the means and you got to explore stuff and maybe start a business when you were young because somebody helped you. Like there's different ways of parenting. It's not like that rich dad, poor dad.
Yeah, I know that there's so many different experiences that happen, and there are things that do change people's life and maybe force them to grow up quickly. And I know those scenarios exist, but I'm not really speaking of those scenarios because I feel like whenever I mention this, when I've had mentioned this in the past, people are like, well, what if my grandmother does this and then I am stuck in this and I only make $18. I'm like, yo, you just created a whole fake world of all the most extreme scenarios that can happen, but really look at the actual benefit. Like, why should someone that is 15 years old just have a job and have to provide for the family and help? And it's just like, you have to now wait. I wasn't asked to be on this planet, and now I have to earn my stay. I have to earn my stay. It's why a lot of people rebel without even knowing it. It does change someone. Like, I don't want to like speak about my own personal situation with it, really, but I do feel like there are a lot of kids out there that just want to. They don't know. They don't want to grow up yet because they know that they don't have to, and they're always told that they're kids down to when they're 25. I'm still told by people when I tell them I'm 33, oh, you're just a baby. And I'm like, so when is it that I'm a fucking adult to you? When have I actually grown up? Because every single time that somebody is older than you, they just look at you as the jit you were when you were a kid, and they never let you like jump out of that. And I think that has to be looked at differently too. Like, treat me as a human being.
My thing is just more the emotional part of parenting. You know, most parents that are more old school, it's like you just gotta provide. You know, you just gotta keep them happy, keep them alive. You know what I'm saying? And keep them clothed and doing all these things. My thing is, I would love to just be more. Let them the emotional side of just talking to my kids and seeing what they really like, how they really feel, instead of me just guiding them the entire time. It's always like, just do as I say, not as I do, and all this stuff. Like, we ain't doing that. Like, what do you really want? And just nourish that kid's, that kid's mind.
And also, don't you find it funny when a parent doesn't even want to know the kid? Like, wait, so you brought me onto this planet, you created me from scratch, you're molding me to become something, but this is where I think there's a difference, right? A lot of the parents mold their kid to become something so they could look like they did the good job, so they can get the Parent of the Year award, so they can be like, my son is in Harvard, like, that brag,
whatever they really want.
Exactly, or they force on a whole new human being. Like, imagine creating a person to make them do what you think they should do, what you wanted to do that you never got to do. It's not fair. It doesn't even make sense. Like, you bring someone into the world, you should want to connect with them and say, yo, what do you turn out to be like? Like, let me see what a good job I did. That I want to see how structured you are on your own. Like, that should be something that is like really important to all parents.
We was always told what we couldn't do, like what we couldn't do in life, instead of all the things that you could do. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I think that's another major one. Like, yo, you could do whatever you want. I don't feel like we tell our kids that enough. We try to kill the kid in them, like right out of high school, and just like go into the workforce, and you gotta go feed.
What do you want to do with your life?
You gotta go feed yourself. You gotta know exactly what you want to do in life at 17. Like, that's not even realistic.
But yeah, you can't buy. Not that you need to. You can't buy a pack of cigarettes. You can't buy a porno. You can't. You can't do so many. You can go to war. There's so many things you can't do until like 21, 24, 18, and I'm like, so I have to have my whole life figured out though. And okay, and then I have to start paying your fucking bills because you're in the dumps. Like, when did that become my life?
And think about it, if you really listening to your child from a young age, he's gonna tell you what he really likes, what he really loves. He's gonna explore all these things. So he might know what he wants by 18 if he really does it genuinely off the things that he loves. And if you nourish that, he could be out the house earlier because he's going straight to the thing he wants and the really thing that he has passion for.
Yeah, and let's say he doesn't love it, right? Let's say he gets into it and doesn't love it, but it earns him some sort of business, and then he just switches it into something else, and it's just nonstop growth from there. Like, I feel like there could be a lot more successful families out there. Not that there aren't already, but like all sorts. If we really gave every single individual the opportunity to find their niche and like And there's not one, there may be 100, there may be 7. But imagine if they navigate all 7 and they're like, wow, I'm really good at all 7. And they do something about it every 2 years for each item or whatever it is. And there you have an empire. Like there are so many things that, and the parent could be like, wow, my kid's really invested in this. This is what I'm gonna like, all right, I'm here for it. Support it. Support it. And if you try, pat them in the back.
Yeah,
Sometimes, I'm sorry.
You can't afford it as well, because I know some of that costs money to really start everything, or you don't have the knowledge itself. You could get them to the knowledge and let them know the knowledge of you can do these 9 to 5s and stuff like that to provide for yourself, to get the things that you want. But at the end of the day, you always gotta do the things that you want and always work towards the things that you want. So when they're done with, maybe they're working part-time, and those 3 days they working on something that they want to do, that is not watching TV, they just not drinking with your friends, if you've given them that real knowledge.
And it's a choice. It's not, I think it's all about angles, right? Because also, I feel that a child would be more inclined to want to, like, because a lot of parents are going to sit and say, well, wait, so what are you saying? So my 16-year-old should just be able to go to school and that's it? They shouldn't have to help and provide and earn their living in my home? That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Your child should be granted the opportunity to only go to school, come home and do the projects on his own that bring him joy, because 8 to 9 hours were already stripped from his whole 5 days a week, right? So give him that opportunity, and then you know what, Saturday and Sunday, you really were productive all week. That is him. He's making sure there's no trace of him in the house. He is washing dishes. Chores are still to be done, because you are living in a space. You're not teaching someone that they're doing it because they're staying there or because they're alive. You're telling them to do it because you're teaching them how to pick up for themselves, how to do laundry. Almost like the parents would really do it authoritative. Like, you live here under my roof. Okay, you gotta leave the door open, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. It's like, look at what you're doing to a whole human being that you created.
They're not gonna want to do it when they're older or shy to it because they were forced to do it. But if you're telling them, like teaching them, like, you make your bed, look at how good your room looks.
Exactly.
You clean your space, look at how good you feel. And this is a responsibility. This is your space.
Teach them like that. And then when they say that they want to do all these things that, let's say, you can't afford because you're paying the bills and you're holding on the fort as a parent, as you should, right? Then your kid, if they want extras and all these things, then you say, you know, these things are privileges. And if you want these things, you can get them, but you have to provide them for yourself while still going for your dreams. Which one is more important? So then they get all right, I'm gonna get a part-time job so I can pay my cell phone bill. They're gonna learn that level of discipline and responsibility because they chose it, not because it was forced down their throat for their parent. You know, it's all about that. It's more of like a friendship. That is your friend, that is your child. You gave birth to them, but they deserve to know you as an individual, because most of the time parents hide themselves. And it's just like, I'm just your parent. We can't talk about that. Or you won't kiss your husband.
Version, so you could be the straight and narrow.
Yeah, so you're basically, they're showing you the CEO of a company. Like, you know that CEO that comes to visit for 20 minutes? That is your parent at home all the time, unless they let you unwind with them and they play board games and like they invest in you. And like, me and my mom have a beautiful relationship. We talk about everything under the sun. I believe every family should have that. It is imperative, because you're gaining the experience. You're like, wow, you went through that. We kind of have the same life, just different generations. And you start to understand their personality more, right? Because a lot of times we lash out at our parents because we see a level of them that we don't even know exists, that they just throw to us.
Older, you start turning into the parent because you just learn more. Especially if you continue to learn and you're trying to break these generational curses and stuff like that, and you're just learning. That's all we're gonna pass down to our kids that our parents might not have. It's just more knowledge that we got, and with more things we realize things shouldn't be this way, and we didn't like it this way, so we're gonna do things a little better way, just as our parents probably did from their parents. Like, it should always be getting better.
Yeah.
And it's just, as long as what I would teach my kids is just I want them to see me, like say I do have a 9 to 5, see me come home, try to work on my passion projects. I want them to see that hustle, just see that mindset to always work on something that you love. So they can always focus on something that they love from forever.
Exactly.
And I don't want them, because then I don't even want them in high school, to be real.
Me
I want them homeschooled because probably even junior high school. I might homeschool them the whole time.
Homeschool the whole time? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, just because you're forcing them to do this boring curriculum that they really don't want to do, and then you're shrinking their brains. Yep. You're turning them into little factory monkeys. I want them to be. I want to teach them outside. I want them to have their classes outside. I want them to freaking travel with me if I'm working and do stuff like that and just see me doing it.
I don't know who it was, but some guy on a podcast said that he's like a billionaire or something, and he said that the best thing he did was homeschool his kid. Yeah. And he was like, my kid goes everywhere I go. He is set for life.
He sees it
firsthand. He sees everything that's happening firsthand, first dibs.
You can't. That's one method of teaching is sitting them down and just having them write and this and that off the board. That's one method of teaching, and we just do that one method.
And that's it.
No, I want to be outside.
And it hasn't changed.
I want them to. We're gonna have conversations about the things we're learning. Some people learn differently.
Yep.
I'm more verbal. I'm not the type to write down and lecture type thing.
Yeah.
I got to do like a back and forth conversation to really get the knowledge.
Me is art. I need something visual. I need music. I need something, or else I'm just like falling out.
Yeah, we only do this one way, so that's what I do with my kids first of all, and just teach them. Yeah, it's just be that rich dad. Even if I'm not the rich dad, I'm gonna teach them the rich dad philosophies. But I ain't gonna be the rich dad.
But the rich dad at heart, not money wise. You mean?
No, just like the rich dad, poor dad, just the ethics.
Oh,
of
that
things.
guy.
Yes, so we're gonna play Monopoly. We're just gonna see things from more of a business aspect, not of a worker aspect, of a creator aspect, stuff like that.
I love that.
And if you teach them that way and how to earn money in a different way, how to invest money in a different way, we never got that knowledge either. And it's not our parents' fault at all.
It's not.
It's just
they didn't get that knowledge either.
They went to the same public schools we went to.
Exactly. This is my devil's advocate question. I'm trying to say this without hurting feelings, okay? It's hard. Okay, a lot of parents, when you explain this topic to them, they get very defensive.
Yes.
And they jump kind of into like a bubble of like, what do you mean? I was the best parent I could be. Yeah. I didn't know. Like everything is literally an excuse instead of tell me more.
Because it feels
learn,
like
right?
An attack.
There are parents from their time, from their generation, that knew. So where is the divide, and what wasn't done or what was done, that there were still a shitload of parents that knew to instill those things?
Yeah, because they have their.
It was a choice.
Our parents are like the revolutionary 60s parents.
Yeah.
For the most part. Because they were in their 30s, about 20s.
Yeah. So it's like.
I think it was capitalists beat it out of them. The 80s beat it out of them. The late 70s beat it out of them.
But it didn't beat it out of the people that it didn't beat it out of. So that's my point. So for us, I know like this whole life that we have the past 2 years has been a choice because we've been in the dark. I've been in the dark for 32 years. You've been in the dark for 35 years, 36 years. So we chose to go down a rabbit hole. And then as we continue to learn, we chose to continue to open ourselves up. We were literally dry sponges, and we are now dangling and heavy and full of like knowledge. Okay? So every generation has had that opportunity. What do you think it was that navigated somebody from doing that, from making that choice for their life?
Just seeing what the other way is sometimes. So like say like they seen the revolutionary movement in the late 60s, right? My parents were like 10, whatever. Your parents 8 years old or something. But they see like the end of that. You know what I'm saying? Like what if you go down that route, this is what happens. The government puts their foot on your neck and they kills your highest leaders, and then they'll just put you back in poverty. or put you in jail. So I think it was scared out of it. And then they were the first generation in those public schools that just indoctrinated them into being these, you know, working for the system in the most part.
Okay.
And they're the first generation of, you go to college or you come out of high school, you could get a good job and kind of live the American dream. So they could see that working, and then you just get so lost of those ways of the 60s.
Yeah, but then what about the other people?
It's just like a cycle. Then the next generation wakes up because
Do you think
they're
there's
like,
just
yo,
half
this shit,
that? Do you think there's
this
just
shit ain't
people
working.
that choose to stay scared?
choose to stay scared, or just be like, this shit kind of works, and they might just be happy in that lifestyle of like, I make enough money to provide my family. I love my family. I like my home.
And I want to keep it the way it is.
And I want to keep it the way it is.
I guess, yeah.
So they teach their kids, this is how I did it, so this is how you should do it. And then we're waking up because
I think we're seeing it a lot more.
and also they're dreaming our dream, because we were told to go to college, then we get this big debt, and then these jobs ain't promised to us.
That's true. It's a very different generation
And
now.
with inflation, we're not even having these livable wages after college.
I know.
They had livable wages after high school. You feel me? So now we're seeing this capitalist shit ain't working for us. So that's why we're waking up. We're waking up.
More.
But for them, it kind
was
of worked for
different.
them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That brought me a lot more clarity, because I was not saying that I was opposed to it, but I was on the fence.
Of like, why? I'm telling you why they pay.
Because I know for me it was just like I could choose to continue to be this person, Nicole. And I can choose, or I can choose to actually learn a thing or two and focus on more and make myself more. And I knew that it was only going to benefit the people around me and myself. Because obviously there was some shit I had to work on that I'm still working on, that we all have to work on. But I feel like unlearning the toughest things in the world to do. And like, I feel like everyone should do it no matter what, because it's this, the other side is so good. You know what's scarier? Not knowing who's in your corner. Staying blind, staying ignorant, staying avoiding, being unhealthy. Like, that is scarier than dealing with your demons and only having the people that matter around you. Like, just
working too much, burnt out, doing something I really don't love, but you shove that dream of what the things you do love all the way down, and you don't even see it no more. So you're already doing that mentally. And then physically, I'm eating bad. I'm having cheeseburgers and meat, cheese, and all the shit that's bad for me. And then I'm coming home and I'm drinking too much. I'm smoking too much. I'm watching too much TV. That's just zoning me out too much. And that's a life that I was happy in.
Me too.
So now that I wake up and now I'm a vegan, I don't drink no more. Just smoke. And I just see life in different ways, and like life, I just see life in a total different aspect.
Me too.
And once spirituality hit and everything, it's just like, I want to live. I want to live a better existence. I want to live a more fulfilling life. And so I'm so happy I woke up, even though I might not be able to relate with certain people, or my relationships have changed, but if you're willing to get to know me, you'll see that
it's really not bad on
cool
this
side.
It really is.
But
I feel like
it's very lonely and it gets very scary.
It has been very lonely and scary.
Except that thank God I have you.
Yes, I feel like us having one another. This has been the most therapy for us, and I feel like you guys are actually on this journey, witnessing this growth as it happens. Like, we are not holding anything back. We just want to show the world that you can connect, you can find that trust, and then you can trust to build yourselves up together. There's no competition, animosity.
We talk all this, but we're struggling every day trying to focus on our goals and what we really want to do with our life, but knowing that we still got to pay these bills and still got to, maybe get these part-time jobs or whatever the case may be. But it's all about the mindset that you're in. So like, I love the mindset that I'm in. I'm just in more of a loving place. I feel healthy. I feel more vibrant. I feel like my skin is glowing.
Hey,
got the
Desi skin.
most muscles I had in years. And
our tans are fine. Like, we feel good.
I feel genuinely good, and I feel like this is the first time I'm introducing myself to myself. This is the first time I'm introducing myself to myself. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's the first time you strip everything down of just what you're taught or what society has taught you, and you just strip it all down, just get butt ass naked and just like look in the mirror and be like, but who you really are.
Yeah.
And just trying to figure out that journey and getting better every day is beautiful.
How did you get through that without crying?
It's
It's
a beautiful journey, man. I watch self-help things every day. Shout out Jay Shetty,
Justin
Baldoni, man, enough. Just all those self-help, just spiritual guide stuff. That's all it is. And it's not even about business. It's not about that, like all the business and all those other things. It's not that. It's just getting to know you, stripping down you, and just using different tools of how to live a more fulfilling life. That's it. You should always be learning to be happier and just be better. Like, why are we not learning? Why we stop learning?
I don't know. I feel people reach a point where they're like, all right, I know it all. Made it.
Yeah, figured it out because they have this in the bank account and they have the things that society says is you're supposed to be happy with these things.
And that is not a fact.
Just know that these are things.
They really are.
They do not make you happy.
They really are.
They help though. It's good to have nice things, but at the end of the day, it's just things.
No homework on this one.
Keep learning, and that will break the generational curse.
And when we say keep learning with this, keep learning about you. Like, call yourself out. Don't have these conversations with people, but when you notice that you do something in any sense where it like brings you out of pocket, ask yourself why you did that and maybe where it came from, and you'll start to like work on yourself a lot more. It's what I'm doing. I think it's helping a little bit. I am like not a professional.
Just all these beautiful different tools of how to live fulfilling lives and learning history put us down a rabbit hole of learning about us, because we learned about Black history, then we learned about Indigenous history, then I'm like, wait, I'm both. So this is my history. And then that goes back to learning about yourself.
Yeah. And
just the more you learn, the more you grow. Shop Homemade, you already know. See you next week.
See you tomorrow, bro. We got 5 videos out this week.
That was smooth. We fell into pocket,